Welcome back to Huffler Garage. So today we purchased a Tobin Sports 11-foot dinghy from Costco for 500 bucks. We're going to open her up and show you what we got. Alright, as we're about to open this thing up, the main thing we're going to be looking for is the MSO, but this does come with the hull number. And let's get her started. And looky there, there's the manufacturer's certificate of origin. And even though it's a Tobin, it is made by Bestway. I'm going to set this to the side. I'm just going to dump this thing out. Oh, and that comes nicely packaged. The first thing we have is our bag that it folds up into. It's actually quite nice. Let's unstrap it. And this bag does look like it has carrying handles too. All right, first thing we have is our seats. Seat number one. Seat number two. All righty, let's fold this thing out. All right, plenty of bubble wrap. We have our pump. Which we will open out of the bag here shortly. These are typically your patch kits. Comes with a tool for the patches. And I'll show the interior there. It actually comes with some fairly nice patches. All right. Then we have our oars. All right, last but not least, and there is our inflatable floor. So once we read the instruction manual, we're going to pump this thing up and we're going to show you a little bit more. All right, we're going to first start by inflating our floor. For this, I actually use our electric pump. If you look back at some of our videos, you can see it. We use it for our other dinghies. This is real nice because you don't have to do the manual labor. So this floor is at a 5 psi. And we set that on the electric pump and we let it go. Oh no! I forgot on these valves, you gotta make sure they're locked. Well, let's rehook it back up. And I can't believe I did that. Well, always make sure your valves are in the locked position so the air won't come out when you unhook them. And that's how it's supposed to work. All right, now we have our floor inflated. Put our plug back in. And that's a pretty solid floor. All right, now that we have that done, onward to the actual boat. All right, we're gonna drag our boat up here. All right, so to install this floor, we're only gonna pump this thing up to about half of its capacity. So I'm just gonna start with this chamber right here. And the max PSI on the chambers for the boat is 3.5 PSI. So I'm gonna set, because I only want it halfway full, I'm gonna put it at a 1.5 PSI, and we can work our way up from there if we need to. And make sure your valve is in the lock position. That way it doesn't dump all the air once you inflate it. I think I'm going to stop it right there, because we may end up having to let some air out of it to put the floor in. And that only got it up to 0.7 PSI. Already looking good. So onward to the next chamber, which should be our front one. All right, and for our last chamber on the side, and there I did it again. But that'll work out well, because this may still be overinflated to actually put the floor in. Now inside this boat, it does have a chamber in the center that creates the keel, or the V shape as you know it. And for this, you don't want to inflate this until you get your floor in. I'm just going to go ahead and set this up for once we put this floor in. All right, let's grab this floor that I threw away. All right. Well, get that out of my way. Like I said, we probably have to air it down just a little bit. That looks easy enough. Try to line up your V-channel piece. And voila, that was actually pretty simple. We'll inflate it the rest of the way to the 3.5 psi, and we'll see how she looks. Well, even though on our other dinghies you put the seats on afterwards, this one, even after reading the instructions, we're supposed to install the seats before we fully pump it up. So I'm going to air this one out and clip them in. These are pretty simple. They clip right in on these bands. And yeah, so once again, back to pumping up other chambers. Alright, so these are our seats. Make sure you pour the cardboard out of the clips. So on this band, they just slide right in, like that. And then you clip it to the other side. Set this thing 3.5. PSI. Oops. Guess I can just set that in there. While that's pumping up, I'm just going to remove a little more of these for the paddles. Which actually looks like a pretty nice boat. See, this is so much nicer than using a manual pump. You just kind of sit back and watch it work. So easy. Now once you have your 3 chambers pumped up for the sides, we do have one last chamber, which is for the V. This one also is a 3.5 psi. And this boat's pretty cool because it even has it labeled how much psi per chamber it is. The only one that's actually different is the floor. The floor is 5 psi. And the other ones are 3.5. Well, we do have a slight dilemma. Looks like I didn't get that chamber centered. She's kind of off, so I'm going to deflate. See if I can center her up a little more. But I will know for next time. Make sure we don't lose that down in there. All right, let's do this again. Well, that's better than what she was. Now, just because we're running out of light, we're going to go ahead and use it like this. It's still centered, so we're going to roll with it. All right. And this is why it's very important to put the seats on first before you pump it up. All right. Should be done with our electric pump. And voila, other than putting the oars on it, throwing her in the lake with an engine, that's all we got left. I will say, even though we had the issues with the seats, this was a much easier setup than an aluminum floor boat. And this thing is only 83 pounds. So it absolutely makes it easier to maintain or move around. So let's get her down there and throw the oars and an engine on it. Let's see if I can carry this by myself. Oh, yeah. Alright, before I push her out in the water, I'm going to mount up the oars, and we have a 6 horsepower Hangkai we're going to throw on it. Alright, so for one of our last things to do, we have our oars that came with it. Open that up. Set that there for now. These things are pretty self-explanatory. You have the oar end and the handle end. Little push button. Clicks right on there. This is where the oar connects. Unscrew that nut. And I'm going to be a little picky because I want the emblems facing the correct way. So that one's going to go on that side. And I don't think it's going to matter because they're facing the same way. So, a little bit of OCD there. Welp. Slides right on. Tighten your nut. And she clicks in there on the side. Same goes for this side. Screw your nut on. And click it in. Now this boat does come with a strap and placement for an onboard fuel tank. But luckily for us, on our 6 horsepower Hangkai that we're going to mount on here, it's got a mounted fuel tank. I'm going to push her on out a little bit. Let's grab our engine. Of course. Make sure your transom mounts are screwed out far enough. Put her on there. Center her up. And we can tighten her on. Close enough. Voila. All right, let's hop on it. So this is the Tobin Sports dinghy that we bought from Costco. She hops up on plane real nice with a 6 horsepower. Honestly, couldn't ask for a better boat for the price. And well, follow us along for more. We're going to be testing out some other engines on this boat. And well, we hope you enjoy.